Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. I'm Tess and I do a bunch of random content here on YouTube, and today I'm doing a 24-hour reading challenge. Now I'm not going to be doing 24 straight hours because I have a crazy work schedule, so I will be doing the timer method again. Wow, I don't know why my eye looks like that, but I promise I'm fine. But I did this a few months ago. I don't know if I ever edited and uploaded the video actually, but if I have not uploaded it at this point, I will be uploading it because I did this in like October. And I'm just really bad. I'm really good at making videos, but I'm really bad at editing them. So I don't think I actually edited, or maybe I started it. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. But I ended up reading the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy in that one. Anyway, I will be doing the timer method. It is not going to take me 2 weeks like the last one did, because the last one literally took me 2 weeks. And I'm hoping this is only going to take maybe like a couple days, because I know 24 hours is a lot of time, but at the same time I have, what, 5 days? 6 days until the end of the month, so I should be able to read a lot more now than I did at that point. My schedule is a little bit crazier, but I will get through it. But on the TBR, I have Slice of Paradise Cozy Mysteries, I have the Banana Whip Safari Trip, and Pecan Flan Murder Plan. I think that's gonna be how you say it, I don't know, on my iPad. And I also have Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which I started I think a couple days ago, but I didn't really, I read like a page of it, so I'm probably just gonna start back on page 1. So I have those, and I'm also doing a buddy read of The Phoenix King by Aparna Verma, and I'm a little bit behind. I'm supposed to be, where am I supposed to be? Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I was supposed to read up to page 369 on Wednesday, and I'm only on page 242. So I'm going to be probably finishing most, if not all of this in the next few days. I have been annotating like, well, in my opinion, annotating like crazy on this one. This is a reread for me. I read this for the first time last August. Absolutely loved it. 5-star read. I'm obsessed with Alina and Yasin and Leo, and just the story is so good. It is a 3 POV story that's told completely in third person, so it's honestly really easy to keep up with who's narrating. But I am obsessed with this book. You guys are gonna get a full spoiler-free review once I finish. Hopefully in this video, we'll see. I also have a few books from my February TBR that I haven't finished yet. I have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, which I haven't started yet, but I just have them my bookmark in here because this is my next read after, or like my next read just period, I guess, because I like to keep a physical book with me. I don't count The Phoenix King because it's a reread and I really only read that here so I can properly annotate it, but I always have to keep a physical book with me, and also my iPad. And also I have Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I loved Icebreaker. I loved it. And I'm really excited to see what happens with Russ, because Russ I feel like was very underrated in the first book, so we're gonna see how this goes. And this one I might save for March, but I don't know, because the spring training opener is tomorrow. Actually, technically the spring training opening game was yesterday, but Philly's spring training opener is tomorrow, so I think this is a perfect time to read Out of Left Field, because this is a childhood best friend baseball romance, and I am a sucker for good baseball. Obviously wearing my Philly shirt today because I can't tomorrow. And then the last book on my TBR is The Cursed Rose by Leslie Vedder. I read the first 2 books in the Bone Spindle series last August, right before I went on vacation, and loved them. I gave the first one 4 stars and the second one 4.5, but I am really excited to see where the story is going, because the second book definitely left me on quite a bit of a cliffhanger, and I drove to Barnes & Noble on release day with this book. That was a very interesting day because I picked up a shift that night. I wasn't planning to. I was planning on working in the morning, going to Barnes & Noble anyway, but I picked up a night shift because I needed the hours, and an hour into that shift the power went out at work. So the power went out for the entire region, like the entire area, and we have a Books A Million that I was going to stop at because it's right across, like it's pretty much on my way home. And I couldn't go there after work because they were also out of power and I got out early. So I drove to Orlando to Barnes & Noble to pick up the last copy that they had of this book. So I am extremely excited to read this, see how the story ends. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started reading and update you guys probably after hour 1. Alright, so I've just hit hour 1 of the 24 hours, and I was on page 283 when I hit the hour mark, so it means hour 1 I only read 41 pages, but at the same time I also have been annotating, so it's definitely taking me a little bit longer than normal to read this because of the annotating and stuff I'm doing, and also just trying to soak in as much of the story as I can because I love this story so much. The world is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. And also just the fan art that is in here is absolutely beautiful. I did see something on her Instagram yesterday. She posted it in Discord of a special edition of the Phoenix King. So you better believe that I will be pre-ordering this as soon as I can, although I am technically on a book buying ban, so it's like, I was talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, you should probably go on a book buying ban, because I spend a lot of money on books, and I also looked at my physical TBR, and it is a lot. I'm not going to say the exact number, but it's a lot more than it should be, so I figured I should probably not buy books until my birthday, so hopefully if the pre-order stops over my birthday, I will be kind of breaking that, but I will not open any books until my birthday. But also, it's gonna be a little bit difficult because also I saw that Richelle Mead announced the special Lit Joy Crate editions of Vampire Academy, and as you guys know, that is my favorite series of all time is Vampire Academy. I love it. I love Lissa and Rose and Dimitri, Christian. I love all those characters. So it's gonna be a fun time. But anyway, I'm going to get back to reading because I'm in the middle of a chapter and I honestly hate stopping in the middle of chapters. So I am currently, let me see, on chapter 27. My goal is to get as close to chapter 34 as I can. So that's page 369. So I have like 83 pages left. Why is this lighting so trash right now? Because I also have my window open because it's really, really nice out today. So my lighting is all wonky this afternoon. I apologize about that. I took my curtain down and I'm just enjoying the nice breeze because it's been a little bit cool lately and I don't like it, so it's I think like 70 something degrees outside. So I have one of the doors open and the windows to get like a nice breeze in here, so my lighting is all messed up, but I read a little bit more because I wanted to finish the page I was reading, so I'm actually now on page 284 because it was like a minute and a half before I stopped the time, so I'm going to resume and I will update you guys at hour 2. Alrighty guys, I am now officially 2 hours into the 24 hours and I have made it to page 324 of the Phoenix King. I'm not going to read a whole ton more today, but I think I'm going to read about 15 more pages and then move to another book because I don't want to read this all in one go. I want to try to pace myself for the next few days and really take the time to absorb as much of the story as I can. It's a really, really good part and I definitely want to finish at least a couple more chapters. So I've made pretty good progress. So far I've read 93 pages and my battery's flashing, but I've read 93 pages so far, so I'm going to try to get about 100, I think. I'm very excited about this. I am obsessed with this book. I'm loving it. And I will check in with you guys in an hour because my battery is also flashing, so. So I've reached the hour 3 mark, and I'm going to try to make this update really fast because my camera's been bobbing between flashing and not the last couple updates. But I did make it to page 339 of The Phoenix King, and then I put that down for a little bit to continue tomorrow. I also read the first 25 pages of Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and also I think I read about 22 pages of the Banana Whip, what is it? Safari Trip. It's one of the mystery books that I have on Kindle Unlimited, and so far I like that one. I'm going to be reading for about 1 more hour tonight because I have to get up really early for work tomorrow, so I'm going to be diving more into Legends and Lattes, and I will update you guys when I hit hour number 4. Also, I need to replace the battery because I started recording and it obviously went back to flashing, so anyway, I'm going to be reading more Legends and Lattes, and I will give you an update at that time. Alrighty guys, so I have officially made it to the 4-hour mark, and sorry, I'm trying to adjust my camera at the same time, but I read up to page 99 of Legends and Lattes. I am flying through this book. I read 74 pages in the last hour, and honestly, this story is just so cozy. I love it. I know some people love it, some people don't, but I am obsessed with good cozy fantasy. This is very low stakes. There's nothing crazy going on. It's just an orc who wants to introduce the world to coffee to a townsfolk, and honestly, I am obsessed with it because I am a big coffee girly. If I read out of the house that isn't at work or anything, it's probably a Starbucks. I'm a big coffee girly. Love a good coffee shop. So just Viv is absolutely just wonderful. Tandri is her partner in this, and they're adorable. Cal, I love the characters in here. They're so wonderful, so lovable, and I just love this so much. It gives such cozy D&D vibes, and actually in the Reading Lo-Fi playlist that I link down below for you, I have a D&D music playlist that I play in the background while I'm reading this, and it is perfect. The video is literally called D&D Calm Fantasy Music for Adventure and Exploration. And it's a 3-hour instrumental music mix, and like the thumbnail is like, it almost looks like something that could have been out of like Pal World or a game like that, or even like a D&D campaign. But honestly, this book gives such like cozy D&D vibes that I'm just 1000% here for it. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, and tomorrow I might read a little bit if I have time. Hopefully read more Legends Lattes, because honestly I could probably finish this in like a little over 2 hours if I'm reading the way that I have been, because this story, I'm just eating it all up. I might read the prequel too because I really want to read that as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, and I will update you guys for hour 5. Okay, also one more thought about Legends and Lattes before I go to bed. I looked Travis Baldree up on Goodreads because I was adding this to my currently reading list. I just learned that Travis Baldree helped make the game Fate, which is one of my favorite games to ever exist, but I love the game Fate. I want to say it was like 2006, maybe. I got a Windows XP computer, and it came with a preview of a bunch of random games. I don't remember any of them except Fate. And I remember endlessly playing that. I could only go to like the dungeon level 3 in that specific preview, and I remember playing that constantly. I had so many saves. I would name them after like characters in books, like I would name saves after like people I knew, and just to play the game because I was so obsessed with it. And even now, I think I've played it on my stream a couple times, which I need to start doing that again. I need to start streaming again, honestly, because I don't do it enough. But that makes me love this book even more, that this definitely gives that kind of vibe, because it's so cozy. And that's kind of, even though it's a little bit violent, because there is like killing of monsters and stuff like that, that is a very cozy game. And I guess that's why I love cozy games so much, because I love Fate. It's my favorite, like one of my favorite games ever. So I just wanted to put the little sneak peek in here, or like little tidbit, that I love this book. And there's definitely a ton of reasons why. Because it's definitely like D&D vibes, Fate vibes, things I love, fantasies, coziness, coffee. So now I'm going to bed. For real, I'm actually going to bed this time. Alrighty guys, so I just hit the 5-hour mark of the 24 hours, and I've made it to page 165 of Legends and Lattes. I am still absolutely obsessed with this book. I love it so much. I love the low stakes, the cozy vibes, the coffee shop. I just got to a really interesting part that I definitely want to continue reading, because something happened and I'm just really invested in the story at this point. I love Viv. She's an incredible main character, and I love that things from her past are finally coming into play. And oh, I just love this book so much. And honestly, I wish that there were recipes to make some of the baked goods in here, because the little thimblets sound really good. And I really want to make them. But I mean, he loosely mentions the ingredients that are in there. Also cinnamon rolls. I mean, who doesn't love a good cinnamon roll? Cinnamon rolls, if they're done right and made fresh, they're so good. But I really wish that we had recipes for this. I'm sure somebody online probably has them, and it would be actually that'd be a really fun series to do, is like make things from books. I mean, obviously coffee is pretty easy to make. Coffee and lattes, not super hard to make, but the baked goods in here would definitely be it. So I'm going to continue reading, and I will update you once I finish hour 6. 19 hours left, so I'm going to see how quickly I can finish this. I have 2 hours until I have to start getting ready for work, so I should be able to finish this actually before I go to work. I may not be able to finish hour 7 before I go, because I literally have 2 hours. So I'm at least gonna finish the book though, and I'll tell you guys in an hour. So I'm officially a quarter of the way through the challenge. I just reached hour 6, and I'm on page 230 of Legends and Lattes. I only have 25 pages, I think, left of the story, but then there's a short story at the end that's, I think, about, it's like 35 pages, maybe? 35 pages, so I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to get through the short story before I go to work, but I'll definitely be able to finish the actual book. I was thinking about just like continuing to read until I finished it, but then I'm like, no, I want to do hourly updates. So I am still obsessed with this. Something that I was fearing would happen happened, and now I'm just like, how are they going to come back from this? Because I definitely had a feeling that one of the characters was going to retaliate in some sort of way, and he did. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's still very low stakes, and I am here for it, so I'll let you know my final non-spoilery thoughts at the end of the video, because I have a few. It's definitely a solid 5 stars though. I actually watched, I think it was Ellen Catherine. I'll link her channel below for you guys. But I think it was her that I watched a video where she read this and absolutely adored it. And she said that the prequel was good, but it wasn't as good. Like it wasn't as easily a 5-star read as this one is. This one, automatic 5 stars. I'm flying through it. I'm obsessed. So I will update you guys in the next, well, when I finish the next hour. It's not going to be in an hour because I have to go to work, so. Alrighty guys, it is now much later. I went to work, didn't read anything at work because it was actually a little bit busier than we anticipated it, but all is good. It was a fairly good shift. It was a very interesting one, but it's all good. But I just came home and actually got home a couple hours ago, but then I ate, relaxed a little bit. I finished Legends and Lattes before I went to work, and definitely a 6-star read. I love this story. I love the cozy vibes. I love the low stakes, but it still has a lot of fantasy elements to it. So definitely recommend checking this out. And just a little bit ago, I finished the short story that is at the end of it called Pages to Fill, which I think gives a really interesting perspective as to why Viv chose to open up a coffee shop versus just a regular bakery. So I like that. It kind of gives a little bit of perspective, a little bit of context as to why she chose coffee. And it was just so cute. And I still had about 3 minutes left of the hour, so I picked up my iPad and I read about 4 pages of the Banana Whip Safari Trip, which was in the Cozy Mystery set I have on Kindle Unlimited. So anyway guys, I'm going to go to bed because I thought about reading some more, but I'm actually really tired. So I'm going to be reading some more on my iPad tomorrow, and also picking up another physical book because I don't know what to read. I kind of want to pick up Bookshops and Bone Dust just to see how everything began because it is a prequel story, and I've heard it's also good, but it's not as good as Legends and Lattes, which I just love that story so much. It was absolutely just so cozy, so nice. So I'm hoping that that gives a very similar vibe to it. So I'm going to go pick out a physical book tomorrow, and then I will see you guys at the hour 8 mark. We're 7 hours into this and I'm very excited. Alrighty guys, so we are officially a third of the way into the challenge, and I have 16 hours left on the clock. I picked up Bookshops and Bone Dust this morning, and I am only 20 pages into it. I'll be honest, this is starting a little bit slower than Legends and Lattes, but so far I am enjoying this. I definitely did not read most of the day because I was just busy and distracted by everything else, but so far I do like it. Viv is a lot younger in this. I think I heard that this is about 20 years before Legends and Lattes, so I can kind of see that Viv is very stubborn, as most young people are. You know, we're just very stubborn most of the time. So far it is pretty good. She's definitely had a couple very interesting interactions so far, and I do like how she ends up where she ends up, like at this little hotel kind of thing. So I'm intrigued to see how this plays out with the rest of the story. This is longer than Legends and Lattes. This is 332 pages, where Legends Lattes will only like 250 something, 255 I think. But I'm enjoying this. And also I've been reading more of The Phoenix King. I read 27 pages of The Phoenix King, so right now I'm on page 366 and still tabbing like crazy. I just got to a really interesting part with a lot of fire and explosions, and right now this chapter is a nice little backstory into the kingdom and how it started and everything. So I'm very excited. And also I did see that if I can talk today, I cannot talk. But Aparna, the author of Phoenix King, is hosting a spoiler-filled talk, like a chat on Instagram Live. I'm not sure when that is. It'll definitely be up way after this video goes live, or it'll be way before this video goes live. So I'm really excited about it. So I've been rereading it and annotating like crazy because I definitely want to share some of my favorite parts of the book with other people on Instagram. I've been sharing a lot of details about like my opinions and thoughts of the book throughout like in her Discord, and one of the comparisons it's just I don't mean anything offensive by it, but one of the kings in this book from a nearby kingdom, just the description she gives this king reminds me so much of Lord Farquaad from Shrek. And that he's also on the short side, so every time King Farron makes an appearance, I just picture Lord Farquaad, and and I apologize so much about that. It's probably not the intention, but the vibe kind of fits because he is kind of an antagonistic character. But I want to read more of this. I'm going to try to pace myself over the next 4 days because I know I'm going to finish this tonight. So I'm only going to read to page 386, so I only have about 20 pages left of reading this tonight. I'm going to try to pace myself over the next couple days because I don't want to read it all now and then forget it, obviously, but I'm definitely remembering the plot a lot more as I read it. But I do remember a lot of the plot from the first time I read it, and honestly, some of the scenes do not hit any less than they did the first time. There's a really big character death in this, and it doesn't hurt less the second time. Certain character deaths do not hit less the second time than the first, so I'm going to get back to reading, and I will update you guys at hour 19. We're already a third of the way through. That's pretty exciting. Alrighty guys, so we are now 9 hours into the challenge. There we go, we are 9 hours in, and I have reached page 119, or technically 120 of the Banana Whip Safari Trip, and honestly, I am flying through this series. I love it. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and I love it so far. This book is the fourth in the series out of 5, I think, and Faith and Laura are the two main characters. Like, it's mainly Faith, but Laura's her best friend, and they go on a safari vacation to Kenya, and there are 2 murders that happen, and right now there's like a really big interrogation with everybody who's working I guess it's like a hotel or kind of thing, like the Airbnb kind of thing. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with safaris. I've only been on the ones at Disney and Six Flags, and that's it. So I don't really know anything about safaris in Africa. I don't know anything about those. But right now the police are interrogating everybody who is on the safari and the people that are working with the company to try to figure out who did it. But also, like, before I opened up my iPad and was reading that, I made it to page 387 of The Phoenix King, and that is my stopping point for today. I just love how this book looks with the annotations in it. It looks just like so nice. I know the colors don't match, but these are the only tabs I have. And the problem with these tabs is I love them. They're very easy to place, and they're pretty translucent. Like, they're pretty transparent too, if you can see. You can still read under them, but I don't like that if you want to, like, remove the tab or, like, move it somewhere, it kind of takes some of the words off the page. So it takes some of the ink off, and it takes some of the page off, and I don't want to replace the tabs with colors that work with it, so I'm just leaving these ones. It's a nice contrast too, because the book is like warm colors. You have the orange and the red. I'm doing all my highlighting in yellow. You can see like my highlights are yellow. So it's kind of a nice contrast to have cool colors be the tabs. I think that's kind of neat. But I don't want to stop reading this book. I love it. I can't wait for book 2 to come out. I'm so excited. But I think I'm more obsessed with this book now that I'm reading it the second time than I was the first, because I love the first, I love this book from the very first page when I read it last year, and I love it more reading it a second time and kind of taking more time to savor the story and everything. So definitely recommend The Phoenix King. I picked this copy up at Barnes & Noble. You can find them at some Barnes & Noble stores, but also we're at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, whatever. But honestly, I would rather go through Books A Million or Barnes & Noble because bookstores, obviously. But I'm going to finish this book before I go to bed, and then I have to work in the morning. So I'm not going to complete the hour, I don't think. I might, but it's already 12:20 and I have to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to try to read or finish this book. I think I only have 45 to 50 pages left of this, so I could probably finish this in the next 40 minutes, like 30-40 minutes or so before 1. So I will finish that, go to bed, and I will update you guys tomorrow when I hit hour 10. Alrighty guys, excuse the fact that I probably look like an egg because my hair is just in a bun from work today. I haven't taken it out because I worked a double and I'm kind of tired. But I just hit the 12-hour mark. I figured I'd share with you guys my progress because I don't think I've updated you in a couple of like hours that have gone by. I think hour 9 was the last update because I wasn't home when I hit hour 10 and hour 11. I was actually out with a friend last night. And I was reading after I dropped her off, like I went to grab something to eat, and I was reading there, and then I hit hour 11 when I was at work today. So I figured I would just give like a nice halfway update. I am officially up to 742 pages read so far. I've finished 3 books, technically. It's technically 2 books and a short story, but according to Goodreads it's 3. I'm going with that. But I am on page 100, or actually page 101 of Bookshops and Bone Dust, which I am loving. It's definitely a strong 4.5, 4.75 because the first like 20 pages or so were like first 20 to 25 pages were a little bit on the slow side, but once I hit page 30, the story took off, and I have been flying through this. So I am definitely going to finish this later today. I'm so excited. I'm going to finish a lot of books today, just as a spoiler, because it is now February 29th. It's kind of weird to say that actually. But I'm also going to be finishing The Phoenix King. I'm currently on page 414, and I only have about 60 pages left. Technically the story I have 50, but there's also a bonus chapter about Firma and Lena's mom. So I'm very excited to be getting into that and kind of seeing what Firma went through with her mom. I am obsessed with this book, guys. Like, seriously. I also have been making strides in this book series on my iPad. I finished the Banana Whip Safari Trip, I think on Tuesday. It's not Thursday. I'm like 99% sure I definitely finished that on Tuesday. And then I have been reading the Pecan Flan Murder Plan, and I am on page 68 or chapter 12. So this one's actually very short. This one's only 120 pages. So before I go to bed, I plan on reading to page 429 of this, and then that way I've got kind of pacing myself a little bit. And then I'm going to be finishing the Pecan Flan Murder Plan, and then going to bed because these stories go by so fast. I mean, they're obviously like very short. I mean, the longest one I think was 180 pages. So these are very, very short, but I am obsessed with these stories. They're just quick little cozy mysteries. I love baking. I love little mysteries. So, and they're not very gory either. Like, there's not really a lot of talk about like blood or anything. There is some. Obviously, it's a mystery. It's a murder mystery series. Obviously, you're going to have talks about little gory stuff. But for the most part, it's actually reads very simply and very quickly. There are typos in here that you can actually kind of see like very clearly. In the Banana Whip Safari Trip, there was actually a couple instances where the wrong character name was used, where I guess like whoever proofread or edited didn't catch that they were talking about Faith, or they were talking about Laura, and they said Faith. So it's like you kind of have to connect the dots there a little bit, like kind of realize that's who they're talking about. And I just read a typo earlier today of they just used the wrong version of hair. I think they use like the rabbit, like the hair rabbit, instead of like a strand of hair. So it's just like small little typos like that. Still a phenomenal series. I've been rating every book like 4 to 4.5 stars. And this one's probably going to be a solid 4. So I've been rating them pretty well in my opinion. So anyways, I'm going to finish some reading and then go to bed because I have to get the oil changed in my Jeep tomorrow morning. So I have to be up at 8 o'clock and it's 12:30. So I'm going to get cracking on some books. I'm going to try to get another hour in before I go to bed, and I will see you guys then. Alrighty guys, so I have officially made it to hour 13. I have 11 hours left on the clock, which is kind of exciting. I did finish the Pecan Flan Murder Plan, and I gave that one 4 stars because I really wanted an epilogue. I feel like an epilogue would have been really nice, just like, not even closure, but I would just like to know what happens in the future with Faith and Nathan. Do they get married? Do they have kids? That kind of stuff. How do the cafes do? How is Paradise Falls going? And what happens with Laura and Yale? Because I feel like after the 3rd book, they really didn't mention Yale too much. Like, they've mentioned him here and there, but I know that Faith is the main character in the series, but it still would be nice to kind of see, like, her best friend's boyfriend in the book a little bit more, because that was an important plotline in the 2nd book. So I did do that, and I read 8 pages of Bookshops and Bone Dust. I just read 1 chapter. I read chapter 13, and as tempting as it is to stay up and finish this, I'm going to go to bed because I have to get up in the morning. And also I read 15 pages of The Phoenix King, so now I'm on chapter 41, or page 429. Definitely be finishing this one for the buddy read. Honestly, it's still a 5-star read. It's still a 5-star. It's not, my opinion about this book has not wavered at all. My rating is just staying a solid 5. So I am so excited about that. Anyway guys, I'm going to go to bed and I will check in with you at hour 14. Alrighty guys, so I have just finished The Phoenix King. I have no words for the last 2 chapters, except I need book 2. Because I need to know what happens with Alina, and I need assurance that Yasin's okay, because I love them. And there's like the tiniest hint of spice toward the end, but it's not really like spice. It's almost like a fade to black, but it's kind of not. But oh, it's so good. And I didn't find the quote that I was telling you guys last night. I just don't remember where it was. But I thought this quote was really good. Like this conversation that Yasin and Alina had. It's not spoilery, so don't get any ideas. But it says, sometimes we use the ones we love, for better or for worse. Because that's love, isn't it? To be willing to be used again and again because we can't stop. Because it would be torture without them. And Yasin said that to Alina while they were kind of on the run. So I just need book 2 because I just started, like, I'm just getting into annotating and tabbing books, and that's a lot. That is a lot of tabs. But also definitely 1,000,000% worth it because this book was just an absolute gem to read, and I'm so glad that I found that Aparna Verma, the author, was doing a read-along, because this is definitely a book worth rereading over and over again, 100% of the time. This book is just 474 pages of pure beauty, and I'm obsessed. It's, again, 5 stars. 6 if I could do it. If I could do 6 stars, I would do 6 stars. I did also read about 14 pages of Bookshops and Bone Dust, so now I'm on page 123. I went to go get my tires changed for my Jeep this morning, and I was so excited because I was like, I brought my book with me, I brought headphones so I can listen to music, drown everything out. And then I get there this morning, and it turns out that the lady who made my appointment on Monday never actually ordered my tires. And I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. So I got up at 8 o'clock this morning. I couldn't fall asleep until 3 a.m. I was up at 8 for basically nothing. So I'm just like, that's just peachy, I guess is the way to put it. So I'm going back tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, 'cause tomorrow morning I have to get the Journey tires done, and then tomorrow afternoon I have to get the Jeep tires done. So fortunately tomorrow I have the day off, but I will be, if I don't finish this tonight, I will 100% be finishing this tomorrow because I have 210 pages left, so yes. But I have to get in the shower because I have to go to work today and my hair is absolutely disgusting. That's why it's been in a bun the last couple days, because I just am lazy and just don't ever wash it. So I'm going to grab a shower, go to work, and if I finish hour 15, I will film it when I get home. But right now I have, let's see, 9 hours, 54 minutes, and 42 seconds left on the timer. So, guys, I will talk to you after work. Alrighty guys, so I just hit, or I didn't just hit, I hit it this morning, but I hit the 15-hour mark of the challenge, and I did make it to page 185 of Bookshops and Bone Dust. I am still loving the story. I'm still thinking like 4.75, maybe 5 stars. Kind of depends on the ending. I did read a little bit more after I hit the hour, so right now I'm on page 205, and there's just so much happening in this book, guys. I am obsessed with it. It's so, so good. And honestly, I just love Viv. She's just, I don't know. I just love where the story's going right now, where it is a little bit higher stakes than Legends and Lattes, but I definitely love more of a low stakes cozy fantasy, and I love this book so much. And yesterday, I think I updated you guys, but I finished The Phoenix King, and again, if I could give this book 6 stars, I would definitely rate this 6 stars because this is one of my new favorites. And honestly, I really, 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 really want book 2 because I want to see what happens with Alina, and I don't know, I just really, really want to know what happens in the second book, and just so many good tabs in this, and I'm just obsessed. So yeah, I will update you guys when I hit, it might be hour 16, I don't know, probably not, because I will be getting the tires for my Jeep done. I just got back with the Journey about 20 minutes ago, and I have to leave in about an hour to get the Jeep new tires, so I will probably be tackling quite a bit of this. I read like 82 pages during the other one, so we'll see how far I get into this when I get home. So yeah, I'll update you guys then. Alright guys, excuse the hair because I am about to go to bed, but I just finished hour 17 of the challenge, and I finished Bookshops and Bone Dust. Actually, I finished this probably around 7:30 tonight, but I didn't want to start anything else because I was also helping my cousin out with an event today. But I just loved this book. I did end up giving this a 5 star because I love the ending of it, and just the way the way the story ended, and the epilogue, and then also including the short story from Legends and Lattes. I feel like we're not done with Viv and all the other characters. Like, we're not done with Tandri or Fern, or I hope not Pot Roast, because I love little Pot Roast. He's just so cute. I mean, he's just like a cute little thing. So I have a feeling that we're not completely done with these characters, but I'm sad that the story's over because I loved it so much. It was so wholesome, and I'm just obsessed. And I did decide to pick up Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I did read this about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was trying to read Kingsbane, which is the second book in the series, last year, and I read a couple pages and could not for the life of me remember what happened. So I want to reread the first book and then go through the series, but I'm going to be annotating it this time because I just think that this story is, if I remember correctly, it was really, really good, and I think annotating it is really fun. I like the idea of annotating books, like not all of my books, but some of them, and I feel like this is going to be a fun series to annotate because so much happens. I've kind of already tabbed with one little instance, And yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to look when I finish it. But anyway guys, I'm going to maybe read a little bit more of Furyborn, head to bed, and I will update you probably Sunday, because I honestly doubt I'm going to get any reading done tomorrow because I work a double, but we'll see. Because I'm working a fairly short double, which short doubles to me are less than 12 hours. If I work more than 12 hours, it's a long one, but I'm only scheduled 11, but we'll see. So I'm going to go read a little bit more and go to bed. Alrighty guys, it is a few days later, but we are at the 18-hour mark of the challenge, which means that we are officially 3/4 of the way done, which is very exciting, but also it's been taking me a little bit longer than normal. I've been in a really weird headspace the last couple weeks, so I haven't really been able to focus on reading, and I just have not wanted to do really much but sit here and doom scroll all day. Like, that's all I've really had the motivation to be doing, so I've not been reading. I realistically wanted to finish this challenge before March started. Did not happen, so I was trying to finish it on Friday, and again that didn't happen. And tried to finish it yesterday. Did not feel like reading at all. I was just really down and really sad for whatever reason. I don't know. Is Mercury in the microwave again? I have no idea, but I hope it is. That way I can justify my feelings about life right now. But also, earlier today when I got off work, I got my nails redone for St. Patrick's Day. Not the color I originally wanted. It was going to be more of a green, but the nail tech that did them today, he looked all around the salon and couldn't find the color I wanted. So he found one, and this is the closest color to it, so I'm kind of obsessed with it because it is very silver and green, and I love silver and green together. So anyway, so I started Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair on my iPad. This is a closed-door hockey rom-com, and honestly, I'm loving it so far. I made it to page 51, which is chapter 5. And this is a dual POV. We follow Parker, who works, she's basically the social media manager of this minor league hockey team, and their social media presence rivals the Savannah Bananas baseball team, and it sounds really fun. And then the other POV is Logan, who is her brother's ex-best friend and her former crush, who she never actually completely got over. So it's been interesting to kind of see them reconnect, because he was an NHL player, and then he got called down to the minors for, I don't remember why, I don't want to spoil why either. So this has been really good. I'm really into it. I found it on Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, you know what, this sounds pretty good. And I looked it up on Goodreads. It's part of a 7-book series. It's like 7 companion novels by 7 different authors, so I'm be interested to see who the other books follow and how each author portrays their stories. So I am loving this so far. And also, I am currently on page 23, so making a little bit of progress in here, and I will be annotating it too. You kind of really can't tell with the deckled edges, but I bought new book tabs at Books A Million earlier, so I'm on a book buying ban right now until my birthday. So I have 2 months and 19 days left of my book buying ban, and also my birthday, May 25th. So yay. I'm gonna be cheating during this book buying ban because there are special editions of Phoenix King and Vampire Academy that I want to pre-order, but they don't ship until after my birthday, so don't tell anybody. But I got these new book tabs. Yes, I know. My phone's also telling me that there's thunderstorms in the area too. That's great. But I bought these book tabs at Books A Million. They're just different colored ones. I've been using these ones, which have like a variety of blues with a couple purples and pinks in it. And I use these for quite a few books. I use it for Icebreaker, for Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and also for the Phoenix King, but I wanted to switch it up and get some different ones because for Furyborn I wanted tabs that actually kind of relate to the books. So I wanted some red ones and some orange ones and some black ones. So I just bought these tabs at Books A Million. And I tried to find these on Amazon, and all they had were just a bunch of bulk ones. And I was like, I don't want to buy bulk ones. So these are $4 at Books A Million, and each color comes with, I think, 25 of each color. And there's 10 colors, so it's not a bad deal. But I'm going to continue reading for a little bit longer because I don't have to get up until 8 o'clock, and it's just now midnight. So I want to read a little bit more Furyborn, and then if I hit hour 19, then I will let you guys know. But otherwise, I will be reading a little bit and then heading to bed. So we have officially hit the 20-hour mark of the challenge. This has definitely taken a lot longer than I was expecting it to. But like I said, like, the headspace has not been where it needs to be. Progress time. I am currently on page 42 of Furyborn. This is chapter 3. I was reading this a little bit last night and didn't get too far after I last talked to you. I just basically read up to chapter 3, and the story is just as good as I remember it. I am really loving how different Riel and Eliana are, so definitely intrigued. I think I'm going to read this probably for a little bit before I go to bed. We'll see. And I'm also on page 165 of Just Don't Fall, and this one is moving really, really fast. So I don't think I'm going to realistically finish either one of these books before the readathon is over, but I'm definitely going to be making quite a big stride in this one because I'm halfway through, and I just got to a really good part that I'm wondering if I should keep reading or not, because I've been itching to read Furyborn a lot lately. So, and I was just telling a couple of my coworkers at work about it today, so I think I'm going to read Furyborn before I go to bed. Probably going to go for about another hour or so because I don't have to get up until, I think, like 10 o'clock, so I've got time to read tonight. I'm going to try to get a couple more hours, at least an hour more in, so yeah, I will update you guys then. Alrighty guys, so it is just after 1 a.m. and we are now 3 hours left of the challenge, so that is really exciting. I just made it to page 103 of Furyborn, and I feel like I'm tabbing like quite a bit of stuff in here, which I anticipated doing because there were a lot of parts of this book that I remember loving when I read it back in, I want to say 2018, because this book, there's just so much in it. And what I started doing is, I started doing this actually when I read Fourth Wing, is I have all the chapter headers highlighted in, can't really see the color I chose, the violet orange, but I have like a tab set for the chapter header, and then at the top I have tabs for whoever's narrating it. So I have this light gray for Riel's chapters, and this darker gray is for Eliana's, and that way it's kind of like a nice who's narrating, like who's who in a sense. But I have like a whole tabbing system. I always put it in the front of my books, and since I have a couple different sets, I just kind of started using like the letters and stuff like that. So it's honestly a great idea to annotate books that I like, so I feel like I'm going to better remember the story this time around, but also the fact that I'm just going to be trying to binge the series as much as I can, with reading other books too, but this is definitely one of my favorite YA series. But anyway guys, I'm going to go to bed because I'm really tired, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow, depending on either it's going to be at the very end of the challenge or somewhere along the way. 3 hours left, and I have quite a bit of a break at work tomorrow because I have to go in a few hours early to help out with something. So I will definitely be reading a lot then. I'm not going to bring Furyborn with me, even though I'm absolutely just obsessed with this book right now. I'm going to be bringing my iPad, so we'll see if I finish Just Don't Fall. I'm really, really, really into it, so we shall see, but I'll up to you guys soon. Alrighty, so it is the next afternoon, and I'm definitely going to finish this readathon today. Whether I finish it before I go to work is questionable. No way, I won't. Actually, I have to be at work at 5 o'clock. I will not be able to finish the readathon before I go to work, but I will be able to make it to the last hour. So we just hit hour 22, which means 2 more hours left, and I am currently sitting on page 232 of Just Don't Fall. It's really, really good. I have less than 100 pages left, so I'm going to be finishing this hopefully before I leave for work, but I'm really excited because it is very, very good, and I really just want to finish this because it's so cute. So that's basically it. Guys, we have an hour left of the challenge. Unfortunately, I have to go to work now, but I did end up finishing Just Don't Fall, and it was absolutely adorable. I'm kind of obsessed with it, but that's what the cover looks like, and I think I want to like binge the whole series now. It was absolutely so cute. Parker and Logan, I ship them so hard, and honestly, they're just absolutely adorable. And don't get me wrong, I love smut. I love smutty books as much as the next girl. But sometimes I want a romance that doesn't have all the smutty elements of it. So this is a nice little romance that does not have any smut in it. I just thought it was absolutely adorable. I gave it 5 stars. And I'm going to be finishing the readathon after I get home from work tonight. I was supposed to go up there earlier and help out with stuff, but I literally left the house, and like probably 5 minutes after I left, my manager called me saying, hey, everything's fixed, you don't have to come in early, just come in at your normal time. So I was like, cool. So I went and got lunch, read a little bit, and then came back and then finished the book. So now I am about to go up to work, probably a little bit later than I should, but I had to finish this book before I left, so I think my manager will understand. I think they'll understand. I'm not sure who's closing tonight, but they'll understand the need of wanting to finish a book. So anyway, guys, I will see you tonight with the final hour update, and then I'll give you a complete rundown. Like last time, I have written down all of the books that I've read in this challenge, so I've been keeping track of everything, and I will go over like numbers and stuff like that when I get home, which I think that was book number 6 or 7 of finishing this challenge, which is a lot. But I'll let you know like how many pages I've read, an average of like how many pages I read per hour, and what books I read and everything. So yeah, I'll see you tonight. I've officially done the readathon, as you just saw, and I gotta say that I think it went pretty well, even though it took much longer than I anticipated. I only anticipate taking about like 5 to 7 days, and again it took like 2 weeks. So next time I plan on doing one around like May, sometime in the middle of May, so hopefully I will be able to do it in less time. My goal is to do it in under 3 days at some point, but with my work schedule and just life in general, it gets a little busy, a little hectic, so I'm not mad about it, but the fact that I finished it is enough for me, honestly. So anyway, now we're here for the boring stat stuff because I wrote everything down. I literally have like 4 pages of stuff written down just like every hour. Excuse my chicken scratch handwriting, but every hour I wrote down how many pages I read and what I read. Excuse this part, this was highlighted the wrong color, but I wrote down like which book I read and then highlighted it in a color by genre, how many pages like per hour I got at that point, and then the total page count in the margin. quite interesting because, so I read a total of 1,574 pages, and I read an average of 65.6 pages per hour. I finished 7 books and then started another one, so let me grab my iPad for a second. It's kind of tricky because the fact that I read like 3 books on my iPad, or 4 of them, so yes. I will go through which books I read and kind of which order I read them in. I'm so disorganized right now because it's just, my brain is just done at this point. I've had a rough day, so it's been not fun. The first book I read was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I love Viv, love her story. I love the coffee shop idea. Obviously a big fan of coffee, so this video did not have that much coffee in it, but I will definitely guarantee you that future 24-hour readathons will definitely be more of a time crunch and will include coffee, because I think like the first couple 24-hour readathon vlogs, I feel like for any YouTuber probably are like little test waters, or like testing the waters a little bit. But also with this, this had a 35-page, I think it's 35 pages, novella called Pages to Fill, so I wrote that in here too, which is why I put 7 books and not 6, because I read Pages to Fill, which is kind of an introduction to how Viv got the idea for starting the coffee shop, so that was really fun. And again, I gave that one a 5 out of 5 stars because I just absolutely adored it so much. Then the next book is Bookshops and Bone Dust, also by Travis Baldree. And again, 5 out of 5 stars. Loved it. I just love these cozy fantasies, honestly. Cozy fantasy is highly, highly underrated because not every fantasy needs to have a bunch of high stakes adventures and things like that. So this is definitely 100% worth the read if you're wanting to get into cozy fantasies. 1000% obsessed. And then I don't have the covers exactly, like I don't have like pictures of the covers, so I'm going to put them kind of up here with my hand. But I finished the Banana Whip Safari Trip by Nancy McGovern. That is a little cozy mystery, and that one was fun. That one took place when Faith and Nathan and everyone took a trip to Kenya. And that one was really, really interesting because they still felt like they had to help solve the mystery of who did it. And even though I was actually right for once, I still liked that, like how they came to the conclusion of who did it. So that was a lot of fun. And I think I gave that one 4 stars, I want to say. My only issue with that series is I just wish they were longer. I wish they were longer, and I wish that there were more books in the series. But like sometimes with mystery, like baking mysteries, but sometimes it gets a little hard to like have more original storyline ideas. So sometimes the stories can easily get repetitive and redundant. So like I see like why that's not a very long series, but I wish it was longer. And then I finished that series out by reading the Pecan Flan Murder Plan, and that one was fun. That one, I think I don't remember as much of it as I do the Banana Whip Safari Trip, but it was still a fun read. Those books are just so fast. I think the longest one was like 170, 180 pages. So it wasn't very long, but definitely an enjoyable experience. And then the last physical book I finished was The Phoenix King by Aparna Verma. Well, technically not the last one I read, but one of the ones that I was really wanting to get back into. And I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars because I'm just obsessed with Lena and Yasin, and just the whole storyline is wonderful. Already I have to go really fast because my camera's dying again. So that was just a wonderful experience. And then I just finished Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair, and I'll put the little cover right here as well for you guys. Alrighty guys, so I wrapped up the readathon last night. I was wanting to record the outro clip last night. I did, but at the same time my battery died halfway through it and I got way too frustrated to even think straight because I was just in the middle of talking about a book and then my battery died and it just really set me over the edge. It's been a rough last few days. I don't know why. Also, my camera not focusing has also been an issue, so it's just a whole mess. Last night was a hot mess. The last book that I finished was Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair. And this one is a closed-door hockey romance about a social media manager and a minor league hockey player. And also it follows like her childhood crush or her brother's ex-best friend. And this one was just so cute. I would have liked to have spice in here, obviously, but at the same time, it works without the spice, so that was wonderful. And this is also the first of, I think they said 7 companion novels, and each one is by a different author. In the same, I think it's the same world, the same team, so that's really exciting. I can't wait to go forward with this. This is on Kindle Unlimited, so that's partially why I got it. And that one I gave 5 stars to as well, because I give basically most books 5 stars. And then I got to page 165 of Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I read this back in like 2018, absolutely loved it, and I'm wanting to reread it because I've had Kingsbane sitting on my nightstand for like a year and a half, and I went to pick it up last year and realized like sometimes if I walk away from a book, I can still somewhat remember the story, but I couldn't remember really anything about Kingsbane because when I went to read it, I was in a reading slump, and then I soft DNF'd it at like 100 and something pages. So I've been wanting to get back into the storyline to finish it because I have all 3 books. And I think also Kingsbane was one of the first books I ever bought on release day at the bookstore. So I've been wanting to really get back into the series because I absolutely loved it. And yeah, so far I'm on I just finished up chapter 16, like right as the timer went off, I finished chapter 16, so that's pretty exciting. So this is my next read, 100%. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this, if you've read any of these books, let me know if you want to read any of these books. Also, book recommendations are 100% always welcome. Whether I get to them right away, maybe a different story, because I feel like buying books, reading books, and getting book recommendations are probably 3 different hobbies at this point. But anyway guys, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you soon with another video.